Hey everybody, welcome back to the Old Swedes Farm. Rich and Holly, going to give you a garden update. We finally feel like we can give a garden update. We have been out here weeding and weeding and weeding. When we moved in, we took over a small homestead from a farmer who owned a lot of property. They sold off all the property to a farmer for corn and soybeans, and we got the homestead, about 3 and some acres. And so we've been working it this is our second summer. It's been a lot of work. I can't tell you all the nights me and Holly have spent on our hands and knees, and she'll show you some spots. Just want to give you a garden tour. Over here, this is an area, anyways, to back up again, sorry, my ADHD's jumping in. When we took over, the older gentleman had passed away. The lady had been here for a while and hadn't done a thing. She was older and couldn't. The weeds just grew and grew in this area. A farmer came through and did plow it once, but I think he just tilled up the weed seeds. It was unreal last year. Our first year we thought, oh, we're gonna farm and it's gonna be great. We had weeds that were 4 feet high. It was a disaster in some spots. So it's a work of love. This area, oh my, we tilled it this year. We let the weeds grow, we knocked them down, and now we feel like we've got control. We hope. It's our squash and melon area. We've got huge pumpkins way in the back that are starting, the Big Macs. We've got Jack B. Littles. We've got Jack-o'-lanterns. We've got some squash, acorn squash, Waltham squash. We've got spaghetti squash. Yeah, if I missed something, I'll jump in. Also got our compost pile. This has been really doing good. When you take all the weeds, throw them into a pile, and then throw the manure from the chickens and some of their hay and wood chips, and then continually turn it over. Wow, we're gonna have some great compost by the end of the year. This whole area in another couple weeks is just gonna be vines, and then in 2 months we're gonna have squash and pumpkins everywhere. So something where kids can come and pick pumpkins and all that. Let me show you what we're doing on the back here. Our privacy fence here is coming. By another 2 weeks, this thing, by the 4th of July, it'll be about head high. Back here, we've got about a 10-foot buffer. The farmer who farms here does throw some weed killer down early in the season, and we want to keep that out of our main garden. So we keep a 10-foot buffer here. We're trying to get rid of the weeds. He sprayed and the wind was going the other way, so none of that even got close to us this year. But we're trying to add, some jack-o'-lanterns and again some more squash and melons here, and knock down all the weeds. So it'll be a continual work in progress back there. Here, why don't we walk around, Hal? We'll take them on a little walk through our little gate to keep the chickens out. We've got our metal pile from all the interesting pieces of metal that we've been finding in the ground. Inside the main garden, we gotta have it all fenced off. If we didn't fence it off, oh my, the girls would just absolutely take over and rob us blind. Threw down some plastic. I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that, and that plastic has been a godsend for keeping the weeds down. It really works, and I'll do a video on that. And we've got so much room for expansion next year. Nice UV poly, it works great. Green peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, habaneros, jalapenos, Tabasco, a lot of peppers. Holly's got some herbs in front here. We got a whole row of what is
Eggplants.
Eggplant, then broccoli, then cauliflower. We've got some plants, zucchini and yellow squash, and then the next planting in front of it, and we'll do another one in a couple of weeks. Got our Brussels sprouts back there. We had extra tomatoes, so we put them on the posts going down, just to kind of get them out of the way. But there's a lot of room for expansion. Here, I'll let Holly show you a little bit of the middle ground here and some of the weeds. You get to see some of the ugliness that is still in work.
Yep, so here we've got our tomatoes. We did start those earlier, otherwise we would have put plastic around them as well. You can see how the weeds are growing, and that's what the plastic helps prevent.
We're working on it.
Yep. Rich just trimmed up the tomatoes last night to help get them to grow a little bit taller, a little more production out of them.
Yep.
And we are starting to get some fruit on them right now already. We had been trimming the blossoms off, like he said, to get them to grow, but we're starting to get some tomatoes. The first 5 or 6 here are going to be our regular, they're like Better Boys regular tomatoes for canning, for making sauces and things, and then the last 3 are cherry tomatoes. So those should.
And Holly makes some great sauce. What do we have tonight for dinner, Holly?
Yep. Tonight we made up some sauce, some spaghetti sauce with some ravioli with tomato sauce from last year, onion from last year, and basil from the garden. So just a simple sauce.
And it was awesome.
Then we come over here. We got a couple of rows of right in here. We've got more onions growing. We've got red, yellow, and then radishes. Tried carrots, they didn't seem to come up.
We've been in a drought, major drought.
Yes.
So we've had some issues with that because we've been weeding, and
we hadn't gotten any rain since Memorial Day weekend up until 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Till Saturday, and this is Tuesday.
It's been rough.
We were happy to.
It's been rough.
That. Yeah. And then down here, we've got 2 rows. We've got 20 feet of cucumbers, then followed by 20 feet of peas and 20 feet of beans. And then a couple of weeks later, we started another row. And as you can see, we need to get through and weed this. But this is 30 feet more of peas and beans each. So planting two times will give us production through the summer without a break.
And we're just using some
garden or some decorative yard fencing right now to help them grow vertical, and then we're gonna run string down to help them keep growing vertical.
Yep. What else we got down here?
If we go down here, we've got
compost pile number 2, because we don't want to carry our weeds that far. That's how many we've got.
We've got a volunteer squash plant. We're not sure what this is going to be yet.
Mystery Girl.
And then we've got another
Mystery Girl 2.
Yep. Then we've got, I believe these are Jack B. Littles.
Yep. So they can
Another
take
plant
over
there, so they can take over this area. In among this grassy mess here are the potatoes. You can see I have started to try and weed those out. Got a little bit more done down there than I have here, but it's fun trying to find the plants among the weeds.
Holly has been working hard. How many nights you been? We do have a lot of potatoes in there, in amongst the weeds, and once we get those out, we're gonna hill those up with some more soil and some of this compost, and really let them go to town.
Yep. And then back here we've got this is another squash. We've labeled all of them. This is a buttercup, which seems to be doing really good right now.
And those were so good last year. Oh.
Yep. And then we've got watermelon and cantaloupe. So this area they can just kind of take over this area. We need to weed out. After weeds were coming up, we tilled it up, raked it out, and now we've got the big weeds we just need to pull out.
Yeah, so another month, and this will be, last year you could barely move in around the area when the squash got going. This area last year we tried corn, and I don't know if I can get this on me, but we tried corn last year, and the grasses were in there. You can see there's grasses growing in here now, but
just like within the potatoes,
it was nasty. So it was just a battle we didn't want to do. So no corn, no I don't know, some of the other things.
We had the zucchini down here and the yellow squash and the Brussels sprouts and the beans, and they kind of got lost a little bit.
The Brussels did, and a bunch of garlic. Yeah,
it
we learned a lot last year, but by the end of middle of the summer, another month, there will be watermelon plants everywhere. We're going to have you know, these Jack B. Littles and such, and the cantaloupe are going to be all over.
And we've got a couple of hills each of the cantaloupe and the watermelons.
Yep.
Along with all the different squash.
It'll be different. We're trying. It's, you know, for anybody starting a homestead or all that, you can't do it in a year. Hopefully we're going to show that over time, that with some planning and a lot of work over years, you can really turn things into something. So,
yeah. Well, and last year too, we kind of lost track of the garden as we were building the chicken coop. Because we had the chicks and they were getting bigger and needed their space.
And you can't do everything at once, so I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to show you the garden. This is June 29th. We'll try to get this out and do one in a couple of weeks, and you'll see hopefully some progress and hopefully some harvesting. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you viewing, and you know, if you could hit the subscribe button, we'd love it. If you hit the like button, we'd love it. We're trying. It's a lot of fun showing you what we're doing, and if you're new to it, hope you love it. We're loving it out here. It's a lot of work, but we're loving it. Take care.